And welcome, everybody. This is going to be our coverage of the final session of the second test between England and the West Indies at Old Trafford. When we started putting this call together, it was so in the balance. It was looking really, really tight because just on the cusp of tea, Ben Stokes picked up the wicket of Jermaine Blackwood short and bounced into him just like he'd been trying to do for the previous 45 minutes. And that led the West Indies 5 down going into the final session. And then just before we were about to come online, we saw Chris Woakes pick up his 100th Test wicket, that of Shane Dowrich for a duck, which means that the West Indies are in all sorts of bother. With me on the other end of the line is Nitesh Bettinon from Zurich. Say hi.
I am regretting this already.
Okay, I'm glad that you're here, though. It means something to me.
That'll be exciting already. I agreed to do this on the condition that all 4 results were possible. It got cut down to about 2 before tea because it looked like Brooks and Blackwood chased down the score. I got my hopes up when they both got through to 50. Thought, okay, 2 results, side chance for the other 2. Not give it a try. I was like, commit to it. Court gets out, and then getting my drinks and snacks ready for the last session, and have already lost another wicket. So, Jing at night for no reason now.
Shane Dowrich has had an absolutely horrible test, hasn't he? He's not only got a pair with the bat. They were showing montages of his wicket keeping and having trouble with the slow pitch and the shaky wide bowling of Shannon Gabriel and such. He's not a happy camper right now.
A quality player. I rate him quite highly, but not a good test. West Indies have not played well really as a whole this test. They've all been low par compared.
What? So while we've been burbling on, Chris Woakes has been bowling another over. He's got one there to go short into the pads of Shamar Brooks, who's played nicely after an initial bit of circumspect after coming in when all the wickets were falling with the new ball. But he's been able to do pretty well since then, 53, and a sizable partnership with Jermaine Blackwood that lasted the best part of 2 hours really in the afternoon session.
Yeah, I rate Brooks. I read about him. The series began literally the day we started doing the commentary, and he seems like a good player. I like what I see of him, but it's the same thing with this whole lineup. Things get tough. Don't seem to. There's a lot of inexperienced batsmen. They'll do the hard graft, but just when the pressure ramps up to a certain point, it just falls apart. And Stokes has the ability to ramp up that pressure. Stokes is everything.
He seems to be taking wickets at the moment through sheer physical effort. And half the time the camera looks to him during this series, he's just been sort of bent over as he is now, touching his knees and like deep breathing.
He is pure 100% willpower. That's his cricket right now. He banned bowls. He chased the ball off his own bowling all the way to the boundary. The batsman ran 4 anyways, but he's just pure willpower. He plays. I mean, everything into. I don't know. He's really in shape, really fit. So I don't think he has injury prone as like someone like Flintoff, but Flintoff vibes. Sort of like it's everything about himself behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't think he's as consistent or reliable a bowler as Flintoff was when Flintoff was at his best, but he certainly compares quite favourably to a lot of non-Broad and Anderson seamers that England have had in recent years. If you think about guys they've had in the team like Finn, Wood probably in this category, Liam Plunkett, he seems to have a lot of those same qualities as a frontline bowler that most change seamers have had.
The proper bowler, but can't expect him to bowl to the level of proper bowler because he's an all-rounder.
Well, quite.
The thing with the guys like Anderson and Broad and all is that his bowling is what they're in on the team. Then even when the rhythm is not there or when the situation's a bit slow and you have to dig deep to find that still spell, those guys are going to dig deep and find it because that's what the gas tank is for. The way Root's been using him, the way he's been used recently in test matches, it's perfect. You don't bring him in to bowl the hard overs, you bring him in to bowl the important overs. You bring him when you need the wicket, you need a tight spell. He delivers then. He he's pure willpower. You can't burn him out by just making him like a bowler and then bat top 4. I mean, 5's probably a bit high, but enough for it. And
He's going to
it opens
continue.
the batting.
He's going to continue
Fantastic
here. He's
batting.
going to have a 10th over. There's been some criticism of Root over bowling him, but it seems like why would you? Is there such a thing? He's bowling to Jason Holder, who's on 5 not out at the moment, having come in just after the tea break as the number 8 batsman.
I would bowl Best now.
Best was just taken off. He was having a pretty hard time against Jermaine Blackwood. He kept over pitching and
Yeah, exactly. Blackwood had measure. Blackwood's out now, and at all for 8, you get the loopy spinner on and test his footwork.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't look that comfortable against, so it's really what's had his number the whole series so far. A helicopter flying around.
Yes, I imagine that's keeping an eye on certain members of the England team. We've got a couple of shortish deliveries, but it's hard to bowl short to Jason Holder because he is 11'9". That one is on his pads, and it's a crowd catch towards leg slip as it's bumped off Holder's hips, but it doesn't carry.
Didn't Stokes get Holder out of the short ball in the first test?
I know that he got Holder out twice. No, he didn't get Holder out twice because Holder was finished. It was someone else. It was Blackwood that Stokes bounced out towards the end of the first test. But Stokes did get Holder out once, I think. A bit's been made of the sort of competition between the two of them as number 1 and 2 all-rounders in the world, but I don't know. They seem like very different players.
They're number 1 and 2, but they're very, very different style players. For Stokes, have Stokes my team rather than Holder. I think Holder's a really good captain. Like he's a proper good leader.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like Stokes, so you can just turn to somehow win you a game out of nowhere. More of a consistent performer day in day out. He was arguably one of the better bowlers on show, right? First innings, Joseph, then Holder.
Mm-hmm.
He bowled pretty well in the second innings when Stokes was going berserk, wide full tosses and stuff.
He bowled like he bowled with a lot of gamesmanship, you might suggest.
Yeah. He demonstrated why the Test match wide rules do not apply ODIs.
Yeah,
that's what ODI cricket would look like.
It was a really good example. What did you think of his reviewing this morning?
Brilliant. Just need to waste time. Reviews in the bank, just in time.
He reviewed one that pitched about 3 feet outside leg stump because it hit Stokes in the knackers, just so as it could be played again. That one is, again, shortish back for length to finish the over. It's a maiden, so Stokes will...
Oh.
That might be Stokes' final over of the innings, but doesn't seem like taking the ball off him would be something I'd want to do right now.
What I would like to do is just have something to watch. If I was Root, I'd keep bowling Stokes till he's done. But I think Best should probably come in now for a second try. You get Vokes, and you can't get the ball older and then bring on Vokes and Curran and till they do something. So you might as well get Best a few overs now, see if he's gonna find something.
Mm-hmm.
You lean in heavily into the Pacers again. If it gets dark, even though they have to play the overs, they'll go off. So
yeah,
until it gets dark. Do you think they'll get the overs in?
It would be very, very frustrating if they were to go off a bad light at the end of what is a test match that has just completely burst into life in the last 4 sessions, really. That one is tight from Wokes into Brooks, and it's defended capably off the back foot.
I think on most test matches nowadays, I mean, not nowadays, but just modern era, I suppose, it's the rate of scoring means you end up in these situations where teams have the ability to push for a result the last 2-3 days, but that means first few days tend to be a bit dull to watch. So seemed a good, exciting cricket towards the end of today's play, but I can see why. I can see why you can get that many viewers in the stands during the first few days. In general,
We have another delivery from Wokes who just pushed out onto the leg side. I think he looks absolutely excellent at the moment, Chris Wokes. Just gonna put that out
yeah,
there.
he's looked good whole test. He's a good bowler,
No,
proper test match bowler.
that's not what I meant, but fair enough.
I mean, his hairstyle.
Yeah, I think he looked great.
Prefer the thicker headbands, or do you like those thin headbands?
I've never come up with an opinion on a headband before. It's whether or not it suits you, surely. Alt Mail is watching. I don't think that's your real name. It says, "Hey Zorex, come back and play Mafia with us."
Who is it?
It's Alt Mail.
Get it? Who's that?
I don't know. Possibly others.
Not coming back.
Wokes continues.
37.3.
Fourth ball of his over is on his pads, and Brooks is able to turn that towards leg. It'll be fielded by the deep back with square fielding, so they'll pick up a single. Wokes has 2 for 33. Took his 100th Test wicket earlier.
How many overs do you think this is going to go?
They're going to play apparently until 7 o'clock because there's supposed to be 98 overs in the day. When England declared, I believe they were giving themselves, even including the change of innings, 85 overs to bowl, which they're almost certainly not going to do because unless they decide to have Bess and Root on for like 12 for an hour, I don't think they'll actually get those overs in. So the pressure is still on them to try.
Right?
I think they have played until 7:30 in some of the games recently. I guess the washout means that they can, so long as the light holds up. But it's all been a little bit confused. It seems like they changed the rules for when they can play on till almost all the time.
Oh, I think it's pretty consistent. We just don't know it. Is the light going to be up till 7:30?
Well, probably. I mean, it's for a summer evening in the UK. It's generally not going to get dark until about 9 or 10 o'clock.
Really?
Yeah. Especially in Manchester, which is a little bit further north than most. So it's not really a case of whether or not the sun's going down. It's going to be a case of whether or not it turns overcast and the sun is low. But so long as it remains as bright as it is at the moment, I think it's fine. It doesn't look particularly overcast.
I think they'll get the overs in because my understanding is correct. They have to finish the overs before the game's done, and they can play on past schedule close of play, as long as conditions allow. I don't think there's any issue with that. But I was just wondering about the light.
Yeah, I haven't seen any nasty appearances of those meters at any rate, and they are able to put the floodlights on.
Good. Oh, the floodlights are already on.
Yeah. Oh, so they are. That's not wonderful, is it?
See what happens.
But yeah, up to 3 hours of play still left. So strap in.
I hope we get the full quarter overs in.
Yeah.
West Indies make this close. I don't want like 4 wickets to fall in the next 20 overs and I just waste an hour and a half watching a slow, inevitable one-sided match.
Stokes is going to continue. Still bowling. He's actually bowling around the wicket to Brooks, which suggests that he's going to keep banging.
Holder as well. So he's bowling around the wicket to both of them.
Yeah. But right now he's bowling to Brooks. I will attempt to save face.
He's spinning around the wicket. I like this is a very old school hostile pace bowling strategy. Just trying to like bang them out.
He is, but they're going back down again as Butler takes them, and he's only getting sort of mid-80s. Part of it is the slowness of the pitch, so unless it's really well directed or he gets one to rise off a length, it's not actually going to be all that dangerous. I say that he did get Jermaine Blackwood out with a bouncer, but after tea, it's not looked like it's really all that. He's going to make him play sometimes.
I think he's just trying to test their patience more than anything right now, because that's what happened with Blackwood. Eventually, Blackwood just felt he could go after one, and he isn't there to go after. And I think he's just waiting on Brooks and Holder to instinctively
Yeah,
pull
well,
shot attempt or a hook shot or something, offended in the air, get a little bit lazy with their defense.
yeah. There's not a lot
Of
else
course,
he can
he's
attempt from this. There's no point in sort of firing one up full because it's not going to get
yes,
an LBW.
but you might get an edge, you might get a bolt, so that's still a weapon up his sleeve. He's got a slip in place. He can just fire one full and across and hope they easily drive at it and nick it through. So
Yeah.
got options around the wicket. I haven't seen him attempt a full ball yet, though.
Well, he's only got
Doesn't
one
have a slip, sorry.
slip.
He's taken a slip out, has it, or is it a wide slip now?
Well, it might have just been out of shot, but it looked like one slip.
It looked like one slip. There he is. Butler is standing wide though, so if it's a slip, it's a pretty wide slip. Butler standing wide. He's got a leg slip. He's got short leg. Probably got another man deep on back on square leg. So very old school body line.
Here he goes again.
He's not getting the pace there.
That one is a little bit fuller, and it's defended. So Stokes is still 1 for 20. It's been quite a while since he's conceded a run. Not sure he's conceded a run since before tea, actually.
He hasn't. It's not really a slip. It's more like a gully. He's quite wide now. Yeah.
Yeah.
A man in gully, and they got like a third man's in the circle. If I look correctly, so really have someone for catching for like the fine edge, but edge is miscued.
Comes in to finish his over. This one is short again, and that one is a little bit better directed into the chin, and Brooks is equal to it and is able to get it off the splice and dribbles into the offside for no run. That'll be the end of the over. And Broad is being signalled, suggesting that he's probably going to take over from Stokes shortly.
The thing about Broad saying he wants to play until as long as Anderson.
Yeah, I think what he was responding to there was the fact that a lot of people talk about Broad and Anderson as though they're a single thing, which is understandable because Broad and Anderson has been the England attack for the best part of 12 years. But I think Broad just wants people to know that he's actually substantially younger than Jimmy Anderson, about 4 years younger. So the expectation that he will clear off pretty much around the same time as Anderson might be somewhat flawed.
Just 34 though, and generally by a fast bowler's career, that's not young.
Yeah, but you forget that Stuart Broad is almost certainly making himself younger with the blood of innocent people. So we have to take these things into account. He doesn't look like significantly older than he did 10 years ago.
Yeah, he looks young.
Wokes is just bowling with a lovely seam position at the moment, and that one does nip in a bit past the leave.
Mm-hmm.
He pulls off this pained expression like it just missed off stump by a fraction of an inch. It didn't. It missed by about 6 inches, but it was a nice.
Need the drama. Need the drama to get underneath the bat's skin.
Yeah, and that one is fuller and ably defended by Jason Holder. There's not really a lot happening for the bowlers. They are trying to conjure up some oohs and ahs and a bit of short stuff and a bit of effort, but they aren't. It's certainly not looking much like a fifth day pitch, and it's just as slow as it was on the first couple of days, of course.
I mean, they're going to play another test match here within a few days, so that's a different pitch. But expect more the same, or do you think that pitch is going to behave a bit differently?
Well, who knows? When people were talking about what Old Trafford might be like in terms of team selection just before the test, they were saying it's actually supposed to be one of the fastest wickets in England, and it had been since they turned the square around and added the new boxes and everything. What I call the
turn the squares around, meaning they went from like 90-degree turn or like 180-degree turn.
I don't know how
180-degree doesn't make sense.
180-degree turn would be fairly useless. I don't know what degrees it was, but my understanding is that they changed the orientation of the pitches.
Must have been a massive effort.
Anyway, that was about 10-ish years ago. Somebody, I'm sure, will be able to correct me on that. But yeah, just before then, in sort of the mid-2000s, Old Trafford was quite a slow and turning pitch. Monty Panesar took loads and loads of wickets against the West Indies, against New Zealand. And so this pitch has kind of reminded me of what it was like 10 or 15 years ago.
10 years for the pitch to settle down and become like what it once was.
Maybe.
So Lynn's language in the field has impressed me. They've generally been a very good team in terms of building pressure on supporting each other and energy levels up, especially with no crowd behind them. Indies did look a little bit flat, look a little bit disjointed. It did look like a team of cricketers out there just trying their best. But England looked very much like unified. Very loud, very vocal, very cohesive. Very much against a lot of oohs and ahs and of trying to get underneath the batsman's skin. To do that when you got no crowd behind you.
Yeah. Woakes has finished his over with one outside off that Holder was able to leave, and so West Indies are still 144 for 6. And we are correct. Stuart Broad is getting himself back into the game. Harsh is listening, and he says the blood transfusion thing is now an official treatment for rich people. I don't know if he's being serious there or if he's taking mick out of me. Who knows?
It's real. Rich people hoard young people in their blood, new blood in them. Sure, they're actually buying like blood banks been donated by young people, getting it infused into themselves. Like no reason. Just to make them younger. It's like stem cell treatment, but like more vampire-esque.
We're seeing a montage of Broad's wickets today and the consequent celebra peeling.
So the Broad headband or the Woakes headband? Just in no cricket web things.
Okay, I mean Woakes actually looks very very classy and distinguished at the moment, and Broad looks like I'm going to say he looks like.
Broad looks like he's about to play against Serena Williams at Wimbledon.
You might be right.
I prefer Broad's look. Probably go for the Broad style headband.
Okay. Sam Curran has got the same headband on, which kind of makes Sam Curran look a bit like Broad's son.
Yes, though he's so much Broad Junior. He's such Broad Junior.
Yeah.
Standard Junior Broad.
Yeah.
Things happen with the ball. He scores annoying runs.
Yeah.
Actually, he's gonna forget how to bat and start pulling of a length. I started pulling it fuller in the last few years. They showed a stat earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's been good. He's actually made that adjustment and he's really so good.
Broad's first delivery is out past the outside edge of Shamar Brooks. And I'm sure there are a few effective oohs around the England side after that as well, not just from me. Because he's played and missed at that, genuinely. And it's
line just a little bit.
Really nice length. Perhaps just a little bit back of where it might need to be to kiss that edge.
It's so good when he gets going.
Yeah. Second delivery is on off stump, and it's defended off the back foot, slightly back of a length from Broad.
Please don't get a wicket, Broad. Please don't get a wicket.
In a way, I quite like Broad to not get the wickets because I'm still going for Stokes to be the leading run scorer and wicket taker in the series, which is probably going to be dispelled by Stuart Broad in this spell.
Mm-hmm. I want to see Dom Best bowl.
Mm-hmm. That one is on the pads. Slightly poor delivery, and it's been put into the leg side. They're going to take 2 from it. 78 miles per hour is not especially encouraging for Broad, but he's a bit of a loose delivery.
He's warming up. It's his first over of the spell. Give him a over or 2.
But 2 runs. Brooks is on 56 now. West Indies on to 146 for 6. It started saying England need 4 wickets to win.
Arrogant.
What point does it start saying West Indies need 120 to win or something? They are actually.
Don't ever show that.
We should be pointing out that they require 312, which I think has been well off the table ever since Jermaine Blackwood got out.
76 away. That's what I like it when there's all results possible in the 4th innings. When it's team surviving with a draw, the team trying to win, it's good to watch. If you're supporting the team trying to win, supporting the team just trying to draw, it's kind of like, yes, we did it. We did not lose. And
Well, for West
empty.
Indies cases, it's going to be that they retain the trophy as
Retain
well.
the trophy, yeah.
It's a bit
I don't
different.
really. The whole trophy business kind of is iffy in international cricket just because of inconsistently teams play each other. That yeah, they retain the trophy, but doesn't really mean much. I think it'll mean more if they can win a series in England. To me, that's kind of what you want to see.
It does, but if you consider, like, when you put the two things together, like, the fact that, say, for example, Australia won the series in Australia quite convincingly and then drew a very even series in England. Probably it's pretty pretty solid evidence that they are the better Test side right now, right?
But there's so much gap between the two series, right? If the two series were played back to back, like it's England and West Indies, and immediately they fly over and it's like the same guys playing other country, then it means something because then it's like, oh yeah, these two groups of players, same team, same time of their career,
Mm-hmm.
played here and played there, and one team was conclusively better over the two combined. If you play in one place and you wait a year and a half, and then you play in the other place, and it's like players change and there's a changing over, handing of eras, and it doesn't really mean as much to me. I'm saying it's not like really defending your fee against equivalent quality team. Ashes have that regularity, which kind of makes it mean something because it's it's coming every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
All these other trophies just seem to be on display and forgotten about, and on display again and forgotten about, and there isn't that consistency between it.
I suppose so. I tend to get the impression that England seem to have a relatively regular schedule. Sometimes somebody comes along for a tour, even though they were here recently. But for the most part, it seems like every 18 months to 2 years, England seem to get through playing everyone.
It's true. England's pretty good with the home summers that way. And it's just
while we were
spacing
burbling
out.
on, Brooks did manage to edge a 4 down through the slips. We missed
More
that completely.
practice.
What talented professionals we are.
We're professionals.
Yeah. Chris Woakes is bowling now. He's into his 16th over of the innings, but it's his third spell, and that is a lovely delivery which zips past the outside edge. Perhaps it's a little bit short, but it's very, very close. And Woakes has bowled a great number of these with not a lot of reward so far.
Bowled well the whole test. 2 wickets, man. He's got rewards. Could have 42, 44, 45, something like that. Decent enough. Average of 19. He's got his rewards. Yeah.
It's took
Tough
3 in the
West
first
Indies,
innings, 2 in this innings. That one's fuller and is bunted down towards mid-on, and there'll be no run. West Indies 151 for 6.
This showed a lot of composure here after tea, but long way to go, and I just don't see West Indies holding up for another 37 overs. A lot of boring cricket. It's going to take like a hour of boring cricket till it feels like exciting again.
Bajed is here, and he points out that they did the back-to-back series thing in 2013-14. It was terrible. I completely agree.
Hey, why was it terrible?
Well, the main reason it was terrible, aside from like the fact that it's with the Ashes, right, which was always the thing that had a regular schedule, and then they messed it up for no discernible reason.
I remember this. Australia deliberately lost in Australia the intention of building a team that would win in England, right?
No. What
happened?
No.
The other way around.
What it basically led to is that the 2013 summer series, which England won quite convincingly, has basically been completely forgotten about and undermined by what happened immediately afterwards, which doesn't seem fair somehow. Not least because the 2013 summer series featured the performances of some of my favourite players, and some of those guys have been relegated in hindsight because people have forgotten about that series.
Yeah, I remember. So yeah, Australia went to England and they didn't really pick a team for English conditions because they were like, "Oh, we'll get them back on our end." Didn't the coach say that? We'll get the Ashes back when they come to Australia.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it past Darren Lehmann to say something that stupid because he consistently said stupid things in that period. And was praised for and he was praised for being like bullish and stupid because the team happened to win a few matches in Australia like they do every time. It was really, really annoying.
If you're gonna do home and away back-to-back series, what I would say is trophy goes to whoever wins the cumulative result. England won 4-1 in England and then lost 3-2 in Australia. They still won 6-4, so they get to keep the trophy. That's how I would structure it. And then it makes sense, the home and away sort of, you need to draw this. Then draws have some meaning. It's just like you said, this is basically whoever played home at last, the one generally retaining the trophy.
Okay, I think
Or-
at this point we're really
It's the cricket.
we're really going to have a think about why we have Test series in the first place to answer whether or not that would be a good idea. My
Yes.
gut feeling is
Do
it's
we have-
different and I don't like it. But obviously that's not that's something that requires a bit of thinking about before you can justify it. Anyway, Broad is continuing. This one is outside off and left alone by Jason Holder. He's on 6 not out from 25. He seems to be starting responsibly, which is very much required of him if West Indies are going to get away with this game. And he does kind of feel like get away with it because they haven't played well in this test, West Indies. They've had a couple of good sessions with the bat. Kemar Roach has bowled well without awful lot of reward. So has Roston Chase, but they've fielded pretty poorly and let some of their bowlers down, and they've had some pretty sloppy stuff with the bat.
There's been matches. Had to lie.
Fairly loosish drive is missed, and it's gone through to the keeper.
Just had to lie. Girlfriend asked me, like, what am I doing? Am I free to do something? I'm like, no, I'm watching a really exciting game right now, so I can't come.
This is an exciting game. I'm nervous.
It'll be exciting in an hour if these two are still there.
I mean, these two
Right
are batted
now
for 3/4 of an hour. That will.
I mean,
be
other than hour
left
from
alone.
now. Basically, if it gets down to 25 overs and West Indies have 4 wickets in hand, then it's going to be exciting again. 25 overs to survive 2 hours, got 4 wickets in hand. For us to get there, it's still about an hour away. Maybe 45 minutes away on the over rate. Karan's going to bowl?
Apparently. That one is on off stump, and Jason Holder defends it away from Broad. Broad has 3 for 31.
Sam Curran bowl spin.
Sam Curran to bowl spin, you reckon?
Me bowl spin.
I'll give you long odds on that.
That's what the commentators right now are suggesting. Sam Curran to come on and bowl some left arm spin.
Okay. I don't know who's saying that, but it's probably not going to happen.
Not fully listening in, but something about England should have a left arm spin option. Maybe they're talking about Jack Leach.
Ooh, another foolish delivery from Broad goes past the outside edge of Jason Holder, who probably played deliberately inside that,
Ooh.
but it certainly kept a little bit lower.
Straight to the keeper. If Dom Bess is not bowling now, I think Jack Leach is a better option in the squad because he is someone you would give the ball to in this situation, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know if Joe Root was... Oh, he edged it as well.
Ain't edge.
Little nick, and they didn't review it.
You carry to the keeper.
You can't just
carry to the keeper.
Yeah, it did. You can't just review it because Stuart Broad says it might be out, though.
It didn't carry to the keeper.
Did it not?
Did not carry the keeper. What were they reviewing? Jack Leach in these conditions, because Dom Bess, you got a finger spinner bowling into the handers, and most of West Indies lower middle order is right-handers. And if you feel, say someone like Jermaine Blackwood plays the off spin pretty well, maybe you're better off a left armer in the squad. I get that Dom Bess adds valuable runs, but really you pick your spinner, bowl in the 4th innings, especially the final session of the 4th innings, and Dom Bess in the second time in a row, you don't think he's going to bowl in the circumstances under 2 different captains. Maybe Dom Bess shouldn't be in the team.
I think you make a sensible point. If Dom Bess has lost the confidence of his captain, especially as a result of not being able to take wickets in the 4th innings in both Test matches, then I think it's a perfectly reasonable selection. You could certainly say that he's not suited to taking wickets against this West Indies lineup, and they have shown they're perfectly willing to be flexible with their seam bowling attacks, so why not their spinner as well? OS is on the YouTube feed saying that I can say Ian Bell's name, and those 3 tons are completely forgotten, and it makes me sad. But at least you remembered OS, so thank you.
Mm, What happened to Ian Bell in Australia after the Ashes?
In 13-14, probably didn't do
Yeah.
very well because none of them did. I don't remember the exact figures off the top of my head.
Mm.
But I think only
Brisbane
actually
did
Ben
well as well.
Stokes batted well in that series for England in his in what I think was his debut series.
Mm.
Which brings us full circle. Sam Curran has been selected to bowl ahead of the spinner,
hmm
which is probably the only connection that Sam Curran has got to spin. That one's down the leg side. It's caught. They don't go up for it though. Probably because he didn't hit it. But apart from that, it was a good
Well
shout.
wide. I want to see Dom Bess bowl. But I brought Dom Bess in right after lunch. Put him on for an end, but England does not know how to use their spinners.
The ball was still fairly new at that point, and Broad and Wokes have, when bowling together, have bowled excellently in this innings. That one is speared from wide of the wicket. He's going left arm round Sam Curran and trying to move it into Shamar Brooks, but that one is defended. Brooks has 60 not out from near 130 deliveries.
I have a theory. Us bowlers getting fitter has left less room for spinners to operate in day cricket. What do you think?
Say that again.
Us bowlers getting fitter, less room for spinners to operate in modern day cricket. Thinking back to like the 70s and 80s and even early 90s,
Yeah.
you needed a spinner just because your fast bowler could not get through more than 15 overs in a day.
Mm.
Kind of plug up the spinner at one end. Your fast bowlers operate in bursts, and very rarely you go two quicks. And even if you have quick bowlers, just because I want to keep their spells in the bank. I think now with guys like Stokes, Anderson, Broad, and I mean just fast bowlers on the board everywhere. They're just much fitter now. Longer spells, and less stress on over rates.
Yeah.
Just eats a lot of the overs that a spinner would have normally bowled.
I mean, there's more stress on getting the over rates right now than there were in 1980 because they didn't care then, and so they just bowled seamers all the time, or at least some sides did.
1980s over rates were better.
Oh no, they weren't. Not really. Maybe by a tiny bit, but certainly not when, say, the West Indies were playing or when Australia were playing. Granted, if you go to India in 1980 and you've got Sunil Gavaskar opens the bowling for a little bit and then they bowl 200 overs of spin, then yeah, the over rates are going to be a bit better, but not in most places.
I'll look this up. Over rates are much slower.
Well, if you look up a general over rate for 1980, it's not going to tell you what a side that's not playing a spinner were bowling.
Of course, but it should.
My point is, the point that I'm making about that is that people didn't care then, and you still got people playing without a spinner.
Really a couple of.
It's the end of the over. England need 4 wickets to win.
It's 31 overs. Here's the other thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is Dom Bess going to get better at winning England Test matches in the fourth innings if he's not given the opportunity to try and do it?
I agree.
Have overs under his belt. Nathan Lyon had a few series where he struggled, but he got those overs under his belt, and that's why he developed.
I agree. If they don't have the confidence to bowl him now, he shouldn't be in the team.
Gareth Batty should be playing for England.
And I don't think it's to do with like the fact that Bess is a spinner, really, because Graham Swan would be bowling now. For example, it's more to do with the fact that Bess has bowled pretty averagely today so far, and he was somewhat not really given the role in the last match at the same time. So I don't think he's being I don't think he's being backed. Whether that's sensible or not, I don't really know. Broad is going to continue.
Why is Gareth Batty not playing for England? Is Gareth Batty
I
not in the
mean,
frame?
the main reason is that Gareth Batty isn't especially good. One
But
is bunted down towards third man by Jason Holder. He will get a boundary for it, despite the despairing run of the covering fielder. That was a cutter from
that
Broad, curiously.
fielder was Ben Stokes. He would have stopped it. Easy effort.
It might have been.
Or it wasn't Stokes. Who was it?
I don't know.
It stayed low. Need to get the spinner in, man. The fast bowlers are bowling cutters. Get the spinner on. Get 30 overs through before light stops you. And get over it.
Victor Ian has made a post about some sort of armchair psychological nonsense about Ben Stokes. So I'm just trying to take a moment to put him right.
Are you reading it?
He said, has anyone done a Stokes pre-Biff versus post-Biff, referring to his incident in 2017? It seems to have transformed him into something very special, and that's just not true, because he was much better for the 18 months before that than the 18 months after. And if anything, what we're seeing now is a return to the peak era Stokes that we saw in about 2016, except he's going above and beyond what he was doing then. So, if anything, he's just gotten over the interruption. A complete French cut past the wicketkeeper for 4. Off Holder, so Broad has conceded a second boundary this over, so he's probably good and furious.
Have you ever tried to deliberately edge one past the keeper? Ever attempted deliberately? I think Jason Holder just has. Seems to keep going up for another 35 minutes. This up, get a few more runs. 61 for 6. You've gone silent.
So, yes. Sorry, just had to put somebody right. Somebody was wrong on the internet, Sorax.
Who are you correcting?
Victorian. Or Victorian, depending on how you're supposed to say it.
Type out a response, or do you tell him, hey, listen to Cricket Web commentary and rewind back 45 seconds?
No, I typed out a response.
That's not how you promote the commentary.
Sorax, I don't know if you noticed, but nobody really cares about the commentary. West Indies are 161 for 6. Minimum overs remaining in the day is 30, which they're supposed to be able to get in the next 2 hours. They'll do well to do that.
2.5 hours.
Curran resumes. That one is left alone, and it goes past the stumps. Probably left on length, that it was a little bit short. Curran's coming in from very, very wide, so he's aiming to sort of cramp up Brooks, I expect. Try and get him to try and find his way through that gate.
Being on length is still a bit risky on this wicket.
I agree. There was one that yesterday that kept enormously low to bowl Blackwood for a duck.
I wouldn't have hit the stumps. I was wide of off stumps. Leave.
But it was very close. Curran comes in again. That one's defended as it's Fuller. He's shown very good judgment this afternoon, has Shamar Brooks.
Dude.
And yeah, I think there's going to be some nerves around England at the moment. It's been very much a new ball sort of pitch. They've consistently done damage with the new ball, but not a lot in between. And if they have to wait another 20 overs for it, it's going to start it's looking like edging further and further towards a draw. They started the session magnificently by removing Dowrich for nothing. But they've got to find a way through this partnership sometime in the next half hour.
They have to give close at them. To get an over.
Curran continues. This one is on the pads and it's squirted away into the onside off the bat, so there'll be no run. Curran is generally bowling around 78, 80 miles an hour.
Lagging as well. Britain has indefinitely suspended its extradition deal with Hong Kong. I guess if I'm wanted for in the UK, you can't get me anymore.
Is that a good thing in your opinion?
Probably more. It's a good thing for the Hong Kongers in UK who will now be extradited back to Hong Kong for crimes underneath the national
Oh,
security law.
that's got
What
him.
happened?
He's out. Sam
Oh,
Curran is
why Sam
continuing
Curran?
from
Why?
well wide, and that one has come
Oh,
speared into the pads like he's been trying to
look
do.
out
I
live.
don't know if that hit him outside the line of off stump, but that's probably
Have
the
to
only thing
review.
that could save him. And he's walking
To
off. He's
review.
decided not to go for it.
You have the reviews in bank. Use the review.
They've got 3
Waste some
reviews
time.
remaining. You feel like it's probably worth it, but if it's
Uh,
since it's been given out on the field, I don't think he'd be able to overturn it. It's hit him on the line of off stump, so that's probably umpire's call at best.
you don't lose a review and you waste some time. Just take the review.
you may as well if he was reviewing absolute garbage this morning. And that's the last specialist batsman for the West Indies.
I don't believe he didn't review that. Come
Trudging
on,
back to
Jason
the
Hall.
trudging back to the pavilion. We haven't seen the Hawkeye tracking yet, and if it is given out incorrectly, then he will obviously be spewing. But he wouldn't be the. I think if England had reviewed his nick behind earlier on today, then it'd already be out. So perhaps there's some amount of karmic retribution in there. That said, it was out.
Have to still use it. It wastes time. Time is the important part here.
It looks like blue skies. Unless that's just a generic picture I'm being fed at the moment, which I suspect it might be.
Looks like a generic picture. The lights it's on right.
So, Sam Curran. Just being annoying and stopping other teams from... Stopping other sides from just getting too far ahead. He's never going to score 100. He's never going to come out with a new ball and just take 5 for nothing.
He will one day.
Just irritates the opposition into losing, which is quite what I quite like about him.
Like him. The team is so annoying, no fun. Trading to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I'm staying up for this. I have to work tomorrow. Night now.
Are you going?
No, I committed. Through.
That really
annoyed.
Just on the cusp of where the West Indies were starting to look like they had more of a shot. Now it's looking very, very difficult for them indeed. Alzarri Joseph has a good eye, a few shots, but certainly doesn't appear to have a lot of sticking power. That said, according to Dan, he's a top 10 batsman in the world.
Survived a whole day as night watchman.
Mm-hmm.
Some credit.
If you want to put a bet on West Indies to win, that's currently at 250 to 1. So, how do you feel about that? Did that one keep low a little bit? It's not very full, and indeed it is umpire's call on that impact. But since you could see off stump, I think that's perfectly fair.
Review it anyways. You waste time. You keep your review. Ugh.
Yeah, there was no reason not to review it really, but it was still out, and it wouldn't have made much difference. He returns to finish the over. That one's well wide and left alone by the new batsman, who I assume is Alzarri Joseph. Oh, it's actually not. It's Kemar Roach. That's curious.
It's a good call. Kemar Roach has got a solid defense.
29
Still
overs
need to
remaining.
bat out the next.
An hour and 45
90 minutes of batting from these two.
Yeah.
90 minutes of batting from these two.
If it is 90 minutes of batting from these two, I can't be held responsible for my actions.
I hope it's 90 minutes of batting. I want to stay up for nothing. Which country is now playing a random T10 tournament that's being cast for live and free on YouTube?
MW says in the thread, it's useful to have a steady all-rounder, an impact all-rounder, and an everything all-rounder. But I'm not entirely sure which one's which in that description.
Stokes is clearly the everything.
Uh-huh.
D is Vokes. Impact is Curran.
Right, yeah, actually that explains it perfectly, thank you.
Guess which country is currently playing a meaningless T10 series?
Who is playing a
Being
meaningless T10
broadcast.
series?
Cyprus.
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 Who are they playing
Actually,
against?
playing within themselves is one of those club
Oh,
tournaments.
excellent. Have you been watching any of this?
Run out now?
Oh, no,
Wait.
he's well in. Yeah, there was a possibility of running out the captain,
Look in live.
which is never.
Live.
Yeah, he's well in.
In live.
Didn't even bother commentating on it because it was so obvious, not because I missed it or anything.
It's like waste a bit of time. That's all that matters.
More from Broad, outside off, left alone. What do you do if you're Jason Holder at the moment? Do you look to score runs at all? Do you look to try and protect the strike? Or do you
do
just
whatever you need.
just see what happens?
Do whatever you need to bat time. So sometimes that means playing your shots. Get too into your shell. It's not the way to play a long innings.
Mm.
You need to. He needs to find his optimal zone of. This is my comfort zone. This is how I'm going to bat long. What shots he's most comfortable with. And yeah, hog the strike from Gabriel whenever he can.
That makes you sound a bit like a new age.
Can.
That makes you sound a bit like a new age life coach in a way. You just need to find your optimal zone.
It's all about cricket's life.
Yeah.
2 shots, 2 innings. You get a second chance if you screw up the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about finding your zone and your rhythm, working out everything else.
Are you still involved with that cult, by the way?
I get emails from them, but I've not gone there recently.
Okay.
Gone there in a long, long time. I had elections, and they have a committee, and they have like some laws and regulations and things. I don't know. Get the emails. I've never really formally signed up to it.
A bit of chaos out there in the middle as Holder defends the ball out into the offside, takes a couple of steps forward, and Roach, not being a batsman, considers the possibility he might be taking a run, and he wasn't, and he's having to be sent back, and all sorts of arbitrary confusion.
Gone for the run there, but Roach is just ready to go for it. It was Roach's call. Holder was waiting for him to call. Called yes, and then he sent him back. Jason had enough time to get back. Yeah. I got a strike in the next 2 balls, so see what he does.
That one is 2 on the pads, and it's clipped away for a single, which allows Holder to give Kimura one but delivery before he will face the next over, presumably. Bijed suggests that there might not be such a thing as a T20 that isn't meaningless. So you don't have to specify meaningless T10 series. You can just say T10 series.
I think I need to change the battery on my microphone.
Okay.
I'll be right back in a few seconds.
All right. Zoric's going to have gone for a bit. HB says in the thread, I'm not so sure about Woakes, but Stokes and Curran should start every game for England. I'm not so sure I agree with that, just because Curran and Woakes offer pretty much the same thing, and I don't really think you would necessarily start one ahead of the other. The reason why you would probably play Curran as a majority of the time is for the left arm variety option. But I think England's best seam attack is still Anderson, Broad, and Archer. And there's a TV graphic there confirming that Curran's delivery did keep low. He's certainly not a bad player. Pleased to have him around the side, especially as an option when somebody is not available, such as when one of your best seamers decides to break the non-contamination biosecurity bubble, whatever on earth he's supposed to call it. Curran will continue. He's still bowling left arm round into the tall Jason Holder. That one is no run. He has to keep taking bits of his long fringe out of his eyes because it's currently seeping over his bandana, which suggests that the bandana is not really serving its purpose at the moment, and perhaps he needs to just, take a leaf out of Chris Woakes' book.
The bandana looks good.
Yeah, but it's not keeping his hair out of his eyes. He keeps having to move it.
He's not using it properly.
He's not. It's just, it's a really disappointing use of the bandana. And even though he's bowled quite well today, Sam Curran, I just don't know if I can forgive that.
He's young, he's foolish, he'll learn with time.
He just needs to get more experience
More games under the belt.
with hair accessories. Yeah. Third delivery of his over. Welcome back, by the way. Is pushed out towards cover for no run by Holder.
Holder's just got to hold on as long as possible.
I thought you were about to break into living on a prayer for a moment there.
Gotta hold on. What we make a difference if we review it or not. He left. That's a lot for us. Give it a call. Review
Alright.
things, man.
All
Review it more
right,
often.
good effort. don't strain yourself. The fourth ball, the over, is full and into the pads, and it's defended, no run. Sam Curran has 1 for 24. Is it reasonable to think of Curran as a fourth seamer in this attack? Where you're really chuffed for 1 for 24 off 7 overs?
I think because he's young, he can get away at carrying a number 8, number 9 who just fixes your seamer, especially if he's young and talented.
Yeah.
He is, after all, only in the squad because Archer's not around, so that's fine. The West Indies have rested somebody for this game. They do all look a bit tired. They've done what England did and sit Gabriel for another
And
quick bowler.
that one is edged into the pads. End of the over. West Indies are 164 for 7.
Roach is on strike.
Yeah, for the whole, presumably for the whole of this over to Broad. This, I mean, this could end this over.
Didn't finish my. You're so disappointed.
You haven't even finished your snack.
Bunch
What did you get, by the way?
I did coconut granola bar, protein bar kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Had a glass of milk with rose syrup, and I had namkeen. You know what namkeen is?
I do not.
Little Indian fried, in bits and pieces that are like salty and sweet and spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Rice and little peas and lentils and puffs and things like that. Tasty. Sweet, bit of spice, bit of salt. Cheap.
All right.
Other midnight snack setup.
I know that you can get
Improvement.
dried veg that's put in crisp packets. So as when parents send their kids off to school, they can send them off with something that looks a bit like crisps, so as the kids don't complain in the morning, and then they have to throw it in the bin for lunchtime because it's horrible.
No. Bad.
That's
Eat dried vegetable. At least like seasoned.
Broad is bowling to Kemar Roach, who's yet to get off the mark.
Eats dried vegetable. Is it even seasoned?
Yeah. You know, you get like, flavored and stuff, but it's not good. That one is attempted Yorker, but it's more of a half volley length really. So Roach is equal to it. It's also not that quick from Broad, so he manages to get his bat there in time.
Broad's looking a bit stiff now. All looking a bit stiff. You got to bring your spinner on. This is why you have one.
Yeah, they have been bowling very long spells, like 10 over spells for Broad, 10 over spell, 11 over spell for Stokes yesterday. And they have been bowling for pretty much 2 days in a row, so they are going to be knackered.
Ridiculous.
They're also playing a third back-to-back test next week.
Yeah.
So I expect we might see a completely different attack again. Archer, Wood, Anderson, maybe.
Attack is the first test.
Funnily enough, the person who's probably not going to be rested is Ben Stokes, and he's got the most reason to be. Just because they just can't afford to lose him from the batting lineup.
Have to rest him. They rest him and bring back Joe Denley. Denley bowls some leg breaks.
That one is a bit of a floater. Broad is looking a bit less dangerous in this over, but that said, he has only bowled 2 deliveries of it. It's full and no defended.
4 deliveries. 6.2 left in the days. But
Yeah.
obviously, Roach all have been kept out.
The moment that you mentioned Joe Denley, we get a shot of him on
Oh,
stream
there you go.
substitute fielding.
He's a very fit 34-year-old, so he has to be in the team.
Mm-hmm.
Stokes. Come back, Archer. Yeah, Archer should be in a 14-day quarantine, not 5. "14 was the accepted number around the world. How did Archer get away with 5-day quarantine?"
Couldn't tell you. I expect the fact that he had been in quarantine with everyone else immediately before his indiscretion, and apparently that he just went to go see his dog, might have been something to do with it. But it's just politicking, isn't it? The reason why there's no crowd at all, for example, as opposed to just having one group per set of 9 or 16 seats, for example, which would be perfectly within social distancing, is because they needed to get the West Indies to come over, and so whatever measures that they feel is good enough is what's good enough as far as getting the Test series to be played is considered. So I imagine it's the same with the players as well.
Basically, that's what I'm saying. 5 days is still, how is that accepted? Good enough.
When the lockdown started, or just before the lockdown started in this country, we were told that 7 days isolation was going to be enough for any general purpose needs. That one is shorter and it's pulled by Holder. Is he going to get to the boundary? Yes, it is.
Oh, runs.
That's the first
Runs.
proper shot we've seen for probably about 40 minutes. As opposed to dribbly Chinese cuts and the like. But it is a strong pull shot. Keeps himself on top of a shortish delivery from Sam Curran. Curran really has no business bowling short. So it makes sense that it gets a bit of treatment.
Bring back this. Bring back this.
Seems like the time to do it, yeah. Nonetheless, Curran continues, left arm round and into the pads. It is flicked away competently towards backward square, and they will take a single. West Indies are 169 for 7. Holders on to 22.
It's more of a...
Roach will face presumably the remainder of this over. He's yet to get off the mark.
It's more of an inside half of the bat run. I'm surprised he's giving Roach 4 balls.
I guess he feels as though, if Roach can't defend 4 balls in an over, he's not going to defend for the next hour, is he? So, may as well get used to
Why
it.
let Roach get out? Let Roach get out. It's kind of new school thinking. Trust the tail ender instead of trying to micromanage his own innings. You just kind of go, I'm playing my game. I trust you to play yours.
Mm-hmm.
Want the run, you call for the run. If you want me to stay on strike, just which probably called for it and wafts that one outside of stump. This is what you do. That is on strike.
A very wide delivery, quite foolish, like you would play it towards the back end of an ODI, and he's just sort of played a angled bat. He almost swept his bat there, didn't he? Dragged it across in this arc in front of him. It was a really horrible shot. Had to reach for it.
I play shots like that all the time.
And that one is much better played by Kemar Roach. He'll be off the mark because he's just knocked a single into the leg side, whereas Curran goes too far across him, and he really needs to... Curran's going to be going from so wide, he's just going to get helped around the corner if he drifts onto leg stump, so he needs to be pitching it outside off pretty consistently from there.
Curran's looking a bit tired as well. To bring the spinner on. You keep harping for Dom Best to come on, and if he comes on, takes 2 wickets and over and ruins this game for me, I'm going to regret it. Well, maybe it's better he doesn't bowl.
Okay, how hopeful are you of West Indies drawing at the moment?
It's going to happen. So another wicket's going to fall in 2-3 overs, then another one within 5 overs, and then it's going to be can they bat out 15 overs? Can they bat out 14, 13, 12, and it's all over. It'll be disappointing. That's sad.
I don't know if there's any word on Shannon Gabriel either, because he's been sort of limping around a little bit during this test. After, putting in a hell of a shift, consistently bowling at a good pace towards the end of the second day of being in the field forever. But most people have agreed that he looks completely knackered and should probably be rested for the third test. This is on top of the fact that Shannon Gabriel can't bat, of course, like in a practical sense.
He's the guy who played that slog sweep, right, against
Pakistan,
Shah,
yeah.
Yeah.
When he just had to face one delivery to, or two deliveries or whatever it was to try and save the test match, and he just plays a massive sweep, massive slug.
Great article on Wisden defending him for that shot. Basically goes along the lines of been beaten on the defense a few times from Yasir Shah, and the batsman getting out on the defense. He didn't back his defense to survive, and everyone was in the circle. So he figured if he got any bat on the slog sweep, he's probably safe. Of course, the execution.
Yeah, but
horrible.
It does look funny. Oh,
Yes, finally.
Bajed is in the chat saying, "I reckon Best might come back at the end, and we get another Gabriel's Hoik," which I think seem to recall was in Bajed's cricketing lexicon. I say Bajed's cricketing lexicon, not my cricketing lexicon, because sometimes it's just not yours anymore. Best is here. Best is going to have a go. This is. I think he's bowling to keep his place in the team right now. If he takes a couple of wickets, then he'll play the third test. If he doesn't take anything, then the captain, I think, has justifiably lost some confidence in him. But he is bowling to Roach.
All day, this spinner take 2 or 3 hours to warm up. Give him 12. It's got to get this end till the end of the day. Tell Best you've got out to the end of the day, 11, 12 hours.
Mm-hmm. Well,
take him off after 3.
Yeah. 0 for 43 he took in 10 overs this afternoon. That one
he
is
bowled decently.
Defended. He's not over pitching it.
Bowling decent. Far solid start.
He's got a silly mid off. He's got a square leg. I don't think Andy has a slip as well. Sorry, a short leg. And that one is turned around the corner, but they do not go for the quick single, probably quite sensibly.
It's like a half hoik, half sweep to a low full toss on the pads.
Mm-hmm. Quality cricket. It did actually hit him on the boot.
Yeah, he's got a short pine leg as well.
That one's outside off and defended. Roach getting a big stride in as I don't know, 6 foot.
That's where he needs to be bowling it. That's the line, that's the length. He's got to keep more of it over there.
Mm-hmm.
Even bring in a gully if he needs, but that's where he's got to be keeping it.
Yeah, there's a good chance of it just drifting past the outside edge of Roach if he keeps doing that, isn't that? That's probably what he's aiming for. That one is a little bit tighter, and Roach is compact and defends. That'll be the end of the over.
It's over. Much turn, which is some good areas, but he's not got any purchase for. He's got to bowl a bit slower, 90 kilometers per hour, a bit quick. He's got to slow it down a bit. Set up for the batsman's eye line.
He's
cliches.
Possibly a bit short on confidence after having been hit around by Jermaine Blackwood in the afternoon session, so it kind of makes sense that he just wanted to bowl an over without trying anything too fancy.
That's what I'm saying. You got to give him a few overs to get into a spell, and then give him this end for the whole day.
Well,
pick up your over
if you want a wicket,
and Stokes,
get Ben Stokes to come back on apparently, because Broad was looking tired, and Ben Stokes doesn't get tired.
Superhuman,
nuclear powered all-rounder. We show a replay of what is actually an excellent take from Buttler.
Yeah, again, Butler's fitness. Could you imagine, like, Should Latif taking that catch? Day 5. These older day cricketers sprinting around and diving full length on middle of the afternoon, day 5.
I mean, I can imagine quite a few older day, cricketers doing it, just not Rashid Latif. That one is outside off and steered towards backward point where it's fielded. There'll be no run. As Stokes continues his battle with Jason Holder. They've got each other out at least 4 times so far in this series.
Slip, he's got gully, he's got short leg, he's bowling over the wicket, not around. So he's gonna slip in the bouncer surprise wicket now because he's got the short leg in. He's gonna up, I guess. A force of will, just figure something out away. John is up, mid off is up.
Stokes to Holder,
Man back.
full, defended.
Good point.
So Stokes is
Hmm.
going over the wicket. He's not trying to bounce Holder out like he was doing earlier.
At the moment, he's just pulling good line length outside off.
Yep.
Not deep point though, for some reason. Point is quite far back. I don't know what he's planning with that. I think he's just trying to keep it outside off and
Yeah, I
hold
imagine
there,
that.
reaching for the ball.
Yeah, I imagine that. Well, if he is bowling outside off, so if he's pitching it up a little bit, then surely you want to leave that area open and try and force Holder to manufacture the shot rather than trying to cut it off. Anyway, that one is a single, so Stokes will get the ball to Kimar Roach instead.
Yeah.
See if he goes around the wicket
He's
again.
going to get two. He's going to get two. They're going to get two. They got two.
They got two. Thank you. See, some people are paying attention.
He's trying to get Holder driving down the ground. I think that's why the man at point is back in case he, as he get on top of one, hits through point. But in the gaps there, we're going down the ground, straight down the ground. So I think he's just thinking full length. Let's pull it in.
Only one
Holder's
slip.
hitting arc, I suppose.
That one is short and not very well directed, so it's left alone. They've only got one slip. That's probably something to do with the complete lack of carry that we've seen.
Got a gully. He's got a short leg.
Yeah.
Quite sure the plan is. He's just trying to get him to hit down the ground and put the odd bouncer.
Mm-hmm.
He did that. That was a bouncer which Holder just left.
Yeah. So he's got a deep backward square and a short leg, which suggests that they are signalling to him to look out for the bouncer.
Yeah.
And that one is outside off. And so it's left alone. Through to Butler, no run.
Jason Holder is already so tall that he bats outside of his crease. We're going forward to the
Well, he
bouncer
bats
soon.
outside of his crease and in his crease at the same time. He's
So
that,
he's actually
he's that much of a unit.
But actually out of the crease, actually taking stance. He's got a man at deep long on. He's got a man at mid wicket. I think the plan is to entice Holder. No, sorry, wait. Never mind.
It is Holder, yeah.
Mid on. Mid on.
And they'll take the single that time. So Holder will keep the strike as he bunts it out past square of mid on.
Big gaps there for the single.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they got that
Giving
quite right.
Holder the singles. They're giving Holder so many gaps to punt the ball into for singles.
Yeah, and right at the end of the over, you'd think Holder's definitely going to do that. But that said, they need to try and back themselves to try and get Jason Holder out somehow. Not having a great series with the bats so far. But he is up to, what's he up to, 25? It's been a decent knock from him so far this evening.
No. 23 overs to go. It's down to 15 overs to go and we're talking.
Mm-hmm. The odds are back to what they were about an hour before tea.
On down Bess.
Bess continues. That one is a little bit chased after by Holder. Ends up dribbling into off, no run. Bess still none for 43.
Turning away.
Practices it, and that is a full toss, which is smashed through cover for 4. Oh dear.
I mean, that's not where he wants to be bowling it, but it happened. He's a spinner. Game a few over. Let him get his range. Try to toss that one up a bit. Lost his length.
Mm-hmm.
Still 90 miles per hour. It's not that slow either.
It's not. Yeah, it wasn't 90 miles an hour.
90 kilometers per hour. That's still pretty flat. He just lost his length there.
If Bess just...
There's a tall man, though.
Yeah, all right. And this one is short, and it's battered back over his head for 6.
Oh, dear.
Oh, well, Holder's decided that you can get after him. Because that wasn't... that was a bit of a half volley, I suppose, but it wasn't...
It wasn't a bad ball. That wasn't a
too bad. It was a very nice shot. Gets down one knee. Lovely bit of follow through.
Long handles.
Yeah.
Better ball. He got a bit more side spin on that. He stood up a bit more, but
Holder's got his best score of the series comfortably at this point. He's up to 35. 10 in 2 balls.
keep tossing up. Batsman goes after you as a spinner, you toss it up again, toss it up again. How much is he gonna go after you? Keep tossing it up. Got a back touch. Take him. This.
Well, here he goes again. He darts that one into spears it into the pad, dribbles out into the onside for no run.
What are you doing, Bazay? Come on, toss it up, toss it up.
What are you? Are you hoping that Best takes wickets or not?
I always root for the finger spinner.
And here he
I don't have a
goes,
dog in
and
the
that one
race.
has bowled him.
Yeah.
He's got him.
On my game,
And I don't know how good your lip reading is, but I think Dom
you.
Bess has just slapped a few hands with a big fuck off. You see, that one clearly meant a lot to him. Wow, that was a drama.
Yeah.
That was a story. It's gone.
Jason Holder's giving him a stare. Jason Holder's not happy. He said that. That's it. More side spin on that ball. A bit of turn off the rough. Beautiful between bat and pad. Great off spin bowling. My God, he printed at Jason Holder and told him to fuck off.
Yeah.
It wasn't just aspiration.
6-4 out. Sorry, 4-6 out. That's well, that was Dom Bess just had like a bit of an episode.
King as a finger spinner is the appropriate reaction after being hit for 4 and 6, especially with a ball that absolutely 100% after the bat to fuck off. That is completely justified. I would not give him a ban.
And you could tell that we were talking about the gap between bat and pad that Bess was trying to find, and that was a big lunge towards the covers by Holder. I don't know if he was trying to sort of look a bit more defensive about it, but
this is release point over that course of that over, and compared to the first over, got better.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a bit more side spin onto it rather than spinning it downwards into the wicket.
Well, it felt like a bit more like
that one turned.
It felt a bit like all sorts that over. He had a full toss in there. He had a bit of a half volley. He had a big dart where he seemed like he lost confidence, and then finally he gets the length to induce the non-drive, and he manages to get it through the gate.
Gotta give your spinner some love, man. You gotta back him.
Yeah.
It's basically broken the game open now. You got Joseph, you got...
Well, that's the wicket they needed, isn't it? And that's the wicket that's probably going to decide the match.
This is going to finish us off on the next 2 overs. Finish off.
Hitting the top of middle. He didn't get to the pitch of the ball. Drove at it, but his bat was convincingly late.
Doing commentary, that's what helped get on the wicket.
The first delivery to Joseph is steered quite competently towards backward point, and he'll run through for a single and keep a strike. That'll be the end of the over. West Indies are 184 for 8. England need 2 wickets in an hour and a half.
Never good for a batsman to be keen to play his first ball into the offside, then playing it straight. So it's a good sign for the bowler that, as a finger spinner, that the batsman wants to try and open the face of the bat. That's what the wicket-taking ball was actually fuller than the one that got slogged. The one that got slogged wasn't a half volley; it was a good length. Just that Jason Holder reach out and get underneath it. Fired one in after that, sure, but then the ball was in a similar area, similar pace, maybe a bit more side spin, a bit more, more enticing, and then Jason Holder just couldn't get to it in time and got bowled through the gate. Quickly till England win this. How many overs do you think till England win this?
I think they'll probably win this within half an hour. That Stokes continues, bowling to Alzarri Joseph, who ducks under a shortish ball at 80 miles an hour. I feel like Stokes has put in more physical effort in this game than I have ever done into anything.
That's quite possible.
Yeah. That's probably true for several of Ben Stokes' test matches, but this one in particular.
Probably true for several of Ben Stokes' nights out.
That one is another short ball, which is ducked under by Alzarri Joseph. Did you see the way that Joseph batted on Thursday night? Sorry, Friday night.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
I missed
he came out as a night watchman and just hit like a runner ball 20. But he
Would be useful here.
He actually played better as a night watchman the morning after, when he was the only wicket that England got in that morning session, or maybe one of 2 wickets they got in that morning session.
It's a tough life being a fast bowler. You got to bowl all those overs, and then your team needs you to come out and defend and win the game.
Yeah.
Guys must be pissed off.
That one is on his hips, and he manages to get a bit of bat on it. It drops down, no run safely.
They win this in 5 overs.
I think there's a reasonable chance of that. As we discussed, Shannon Gabriel's batting is not known for its competence.
Disappointing.
It's Joseph who's batting at the moment, though, and that one gets into his hips, and it almost gets caught in the bag. Drops to the floor safely, and Pope will field.
Fling across, trying to flick to leg. Not the best way to negotiate. Balls at your body.
Got a bit of bandaging on his right arm, Joseph. He did go off at one point, leaving Brathwaite to finish his over at one point. But he seems to be okay. Maybe that's why he went down to number 10. That's a lovely drive. Stokes pitches one up a little bit, and Joseph just plays this quite elegant,
Beautiful.
languid, straight drive that goes past the bowler for 4.
Beautiful.
He's certainly got a few shots.
He's got some talent. Real talent, but
I mean, I don't really think
way to go.
Talent doesn't really exist. I'm sorry.
Talent is a thing. This means a lot more than people think it does.
Another delivery is driven back to Stokes, who collects the ball and throws quite viciously at the stumps. Thanks to some backing up, it doesn't go for 4 overthrows. Stokes also has the wherewithal to apologise for nearly chucking it straight at the batsman's head.
Run is hardly a vicious throw. He backhanded it.
He did backhand it, yeah, you're right. It looked a bit different live.
Is this because he has so much power in his backhand? It was actually pretty vicious.
It was
a lot of pace on it for a backhand.
Because it had more pace on it than the original delivery. Minimum overs remaining 21 overs. I don't think that's going to be possible. In an hour and an hour and a half maybe at most. Bess will continue. Can he finish it off? Can he?
Better.
Well, that one's going to go up for that, but that's a turning down leg. Actually, he's bowling from as wide as a crease. More of that is just going on with the angle than it is turning down leg, but into the right-handed. Sorry, Joseph. They go for a review here, but if this is
absolutely
if this is out, then I'll eat my other shoe.
You need to review this. Just pad up a ball pitching on the stumps. Is your bat?
He's bowling from relatively wide. It's pitching on off stump. It's hit him in front of middle and leg. It's definitely going down. Well, now that I've seen it on a replay, I'm not entirely sure. This could be.
Not spinning it a lot.
I think. There's a bit of bounce there. I don't think it's going to be flush on the stumps.
It's going to be umpire's call.
Missing, yeah. It's actually going over leg stump.
Oh, it's missing on height. It's missing on height.
Yeah, it's actually going.
But a bounce.
Yeah, I think at best it would have been, even if it had been lower, it would have been sort of clipping the outside of leg stump.
Yeah. Umpire's call or just an umpire's.
Anyway, there's no way the umpire was going to give it out, so it was a long way from actually being overturned.
I've seen umpires in club cricket.
That one's gone up in the air, and I think he's got him. Yes, he's got him that time. Bat pad. That one's an inside edge onto the pad, and it's ballooned up into the air. The short leg has collected it.
This is what your spinner is for.
This one has been reviewed, presumably because Joseph has no choice. They're going to look at the no ball first. It's fair delivery. And that one is... It looks like there's a pretty sizable edge there.
Out live, you
deviation.
can hear the bat.
Oh, maybe that's bat on pad actually.
Oh, bat on pad, bat on pad. Review
Yeah, it was bat on
on
pad.
pad. Good review, good review,
Yeah.
review.
Well, it's not over yet then.
Happened at the same time. Bat on pad, ball on pad.
Yeah.
Tough decision. Pretty out live.
It's not often that you see pad. They have to check the LBW, but it's far too high.
So you have to protect the W.
It's not often that
Same.
you see pad only, like going straight up in the air like that one did. Usually it requires a bit of bat.
Because the bat was there behind the pad at the moment of impact, sort of like buffering up the pad.
Yeah.
The ball just deviated a bit further.
And that one is defended, but it sort of squirts out towards the offside for no run.
I'm best making things happen. This is why you bring your spinner on.
I mean, he is
Jesus,
bowling to the
this is
tail
why.
enders, but now that all the fast bowlers are knackered, it seems the only reasonable course of action to keep him bowling till the end of the day. That one is swung at by Joseph, and it ends up dribbling down towards mid on. They will take the single, and so Joseph will escape from his tormentor, the demon off spinner.
One batsman gets a measure of the spinner. Fair enough, you take him off. But batsman was as soon as backward was dismissed, you got to bring him on. They give him a go.
Yeah.
He's in now to Roach. Hemar survive. Defense.
On. When you were talking about the spinner could have been bowling, Chris Wokes was actually bowling really, really well, and so I mean, it was a perfectly reasonable decision to bowl him. But maybe by the time Curran's coming back on, you can kind of see what's going on. Still, Curran got a wicket as well. I don't think the attack has been mishandled by Joe Root in this innings at all.
Think if I was in Joe Root's place, West Indies would be bowled out right now.
I mean, if you had taken Joe Root's place, then I don't think we'd have any runs.
Joe Root barely scored anything. How much did he score?
He didn't score many, to be fair, but he was involved in a couple of very good partnerships.
Yeah, I can hold up an end, pop a few blows, get in there till I get out.
Stokes is going to continue because he's the man of the moment. Why not? That one is outside off and pushed at tentatively. Doesn't get any bat on it, which is probably for the best if you're Alzarri Joseph.
Not good enough to nick that. Good enough to nick that.
Yeah. Nice bit of seam position. Gets a nice bit of bounce. Nothing particularly vicious about the delivery though.
Left up a bit.
That one is short and ducked under. Nowhere near anything. Really. West Indies are still 190 for 8. No run.
Stokes chasing the ball all the way to the boundary was ridiculous.
And then immediately coming back and getting the wicket.
The batsman ran for anyways. He put all that effort in for literally nothing. Just to
Just to
the message.
Just to be a cricketer. Just to keep it up. That one is Fuller and swiped at by Joseph. He manages to get it into the offside. This won't quite go all the way for as Dom Besford does the fielding.
Shot though, pretty good shot.
Yeah, bit of a sort of square drive with a big backlift. It's like a sort of Tilakaratne Dilshan slash.
Yes.
And so Stokes will continue, and that's hit him in front. He considers appealing. Decides against it.
Oh, he's too short.
Too short and probably outside off as well. It's actually a little bit of a... Yeah, no, it's hit him well above the thigh pads. Sorry, it's hit him well above the pads and on the thighs.
It stayed a bit low as well, didn't it?
Yeah, given the length. The pitch has become pretty up and down over the last couple of days, as you'd expect. And
The
this
ball that
one
then
is
set up.
inside edged and bobbles mysteriously past the stumps. That was a
Push the goal.
bit fortunate for Joseph there. One of those ones where you're not sure how it managed to miss. I feel like Stokes perhaps deserved that. He certainly feels like he deserved it, judging by the look on his face.
He'll get it eventually.
Probably will. Comes in to finish the over, and that will be caught.
No.
Yep, he's out. Bunted out, square driven again from Joseph, just like he did previously in the over, but this time he's found the fielder, the backward point fielder, who is, I believe, Don Bess.
Loose.
And that will be 192.49. Stokes has his second wicket.
Loose. Oh, so loose.
Yeah, I mean,
Disappointing.
we said that Joseph has shots, not that he's a batsman.
I think I'm done with my snacks.
Are you done with your snacks? Are you done with the test match?
10 minutes to go, I guess. I'm best to get Gabriel out.
I
doing
mean,
something
all we
stupid.
have to do is watch Shannon Gabriel's innings at this point.
Shannon Gabriel and Dombes. Stayed up for this.
Well, I appreciate that you stayed up for this.
You're welcome. The third test is better. Changes do West Indies make for the third test?
If I was West Indies, I would probably look at bringing in their opener, De Silva, who seemed to be in really good form. Just, you've just lost a couple. You've not really got a batting lineup that's functioning very well. If you've got an opener that's in really good form, give him a crack, see what happens. I probably was on the verge of dropping Shamar Brooks because I think he looked a bit out of his depth in the first test,
no.
but he's done pretty well here, so no worries about him, I guess. Give him another, keep him up. And then Shannon Gabriel, they'll have to see how fit he is.
Who's the reserve quick bowler in the West Indies squad?
It'll be the other Holder. Don't know if there's a relation. Chamar Holder, that's it.
Chamar Holder.
Supposed to be properly quick.
The Chamar Holder has to come in. Probably drop Campbell. That's it. You might consider Raheem Cornwall. You drop him.
I don't know if I would. I think Ruston Chase is been pretty effective. But then they do have four seamers to choose from. At the start of the series, I was actually thinking about bringing in Cornwall for one of these batsmen who I didn't really rate. Because I thought, you know what, if you've got Holder at 7, Dowrich at 6, Cornwall at 8, that's still a pretty productive engine room. And you don't have to sort of waste time with some of these batsmen I've never heard of. But Blackwood has done very well. Brooks has done pretty decently. I don't really think there's all that much space in for him. But you might just get rid of or rest Gabriel and bring in Cornwall for him. And that gives you an absurdly long batting lineup, but it does give you 3 seamers, 2 spinners, which might be right on a wearing Old Trafford square.
You drop Shai Hope.
Actually, yeah, fair enough. Drop Shai Hope. He doesn't look like he's at the races this series.
Eventually be time to give Shai Hope and John Campbell the axe. Again, the new opener.
Oh,
who?
Bess draws the outside edge, but it drops short of Stokes at first slip.
They got 4 runs tickled down a fine leg earlier this over as well. It's 194 for 9. It's formalities.
Let's see if Bess can massage his figures a little bit with the tail end wicket. That one is defended at the end of the over. Sorry, for the 5th ball of the over. He's still got 1 more to go. I've never been able to count, not even as an umpire.
Do you have one of those clicker things to help you count?
Yeah, I had to in the end. I totally underestimated how hard it was going to be. And that one does get past his defences, but it goes nowhere interesting, and so there'll be no run. And West Indies still 194 for 9 at the end of the over.
That one.
think I'm right in saying that the wicket of Alzarri Joseph was Stokes' 9th wicket of the series to go along with his 340 runs.
This is a fun stat.
Yeah.
First England player to score 250 runs in a test match, that then also took more than 1 wicket.
Is that kind of sounds like it's been manufactured to describe this game? But I don't know. Has that happened before? I feel like maybe Botham or Grigg or someone will have done that before.
Nope. This time a player who has scored 250 runs and has gone on to take more than 1 wicket.
Is that anyone
England.
or just England players?
Just England.
Just England, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Sure, Gary Sobers has done it.
Yeah.
Of time. Shakib has definitely done it at some.
Shakib, I don't feel like he's got like a really big test innings, like a double hundred before, has he?
Against New Zealand, right? Didn't he get a double hundred?
I don't remember.
He took more than 2 wickets that game.
I mean, he takes more than 2 wickets every game because no one else can bowl.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure he's done this. I'm sure Gary Sobers has done this. Who else? Numan Kad maybe at some point.
Yeah. Anyway, I feel like a lot of the Ben Stokes combined records that he likes to get, with the so many runs and the so many wickets, are kind of set up for Ben Stokes to have the record. Like the 4,000 runs and 150 wickets was set up recently. But yeah, that's just like the ratio that Ben Stokes happens to have, Some all-rounders take more runs, some all-rounders have got take more wickets, But that said,
the fact
it does impress me sometimes that when they put up some of these records for Ben Stokes, like, oh, he's the second fastest England player to such and such a double record for runs and wickets, and then Ian Botham has beaten him. It's like, wow, Ben Stokes isn't even winning his own records at that point. Beefy must have been really good. You see this a little bit. At the moment, we're seeing Stokes bowling to Gabriel, who's smiling a little bit because he knows he has no responsibility at this point.
Ducking under everything.
Yeah.
Third test match. England are probably going to win the series. Boring.
Depends whether or not.
Oh, boring.
Delivery down the leg side. Left alone.
I think Shannon Gabriel somehow blocks out 50 balls for no runs this innings. It's a test match.
Even if he does block out 50 deliveries for no runs, it might be quite tricky. But it is gone past 6 o'clock. They're not going to get the 17 overs remaining in, but we are into the last hour, and it's not outside of living memory that Monty Panesar survived an hour of Test cricket to draw a game.
So I'm just hoping for now something ridiculous like this means another 30, 45 minutes of boring. Frustrating. So when it gets good, England take a wicket. Sport, honestly. That's when it gets good, England take a wicket every time. Stokes walking off the field.
Huh.
Looks injured. He doesn't complete in the over. He's leaving the field. He's done. He's not leaving the field. He's taking slip, but leave after the over.
He's just probably got a bit of cramp or a bit of strain, I would imagine, just because the amount of effort has just been amazing, and I think it's just a case of being safe rather than sorry. Joe Root's going to try and finish the over.
Oh, I think it's happened. It's gone past 6 p.m. The message has come through that he's not supposed to be bowling after 6 p.m. And rest those muscles. He's got a certain number of hours of work in the day.
He's heavily unionized at this point, right? All-rounders union. That one's floated
Joe
in.
Root gets a wicket here. Root gets a wicket here.
He's bowling to Shannon Gabriel, so anything could happen.
What would be the worst ending?
You think? But he's an off spinner. He's your friend, right?
Oh, he's a troll off spinner. That was pretty good once upon a time.
That was actually not a bad delivery. Nice length.
No, he's a decent release point. He's the low sling club off spinner. The top tier club off spinners. That's what Joe Root is. doesn't get over on the ball. He doesn't put down onto it. He doesn't rotate down. He doesn't get high on the ball. Kind of lobs it up into the air with a nice little 45-degree release point and just gets some turn and much bounce. It's
Yeah.
full club off spin.
Well, sort of bowler that can only really be effective in a situation where suddenly you only want to bowl spin.
Also effective in like limiter. Like
He did
limited overs
actually have a
cricket is all about the
period in maybe the first 2 or 3 years of his ODI career where he would be bowling a substantial part of
Yeah.
the 10 overs.
It's kind of like the Kedar Jadhav thing, like you're loopy and you're slow and you know your field and you're accurate.
Yeah.
You can get a do a decent job in limited overs cricket. Joe Root can do a job.
Nonetheless, it's Bess bowling now to Roach, and I think he's got that. They appeal for it. He's hit in front. They decide not to go for the review, so perhaps it was too high. Perhaps it was struck outside the
I think
line.
it's an inside edge. I think it might have been an inside edge. 2 sounds.
And here comes a slow-mo, and perhaps there was a little nick there. Didn't seem huge deviation. That one is bowled into him and goes past the outside edge this time.
An inside edge on that one.
Bess is certainly feeling a lot better about his bowling at the moment.
There we go. Keeping it 90 kilometers per hour. He's not really slowing down. He kind of bowls at just that speed. He's not a toss-it-up kind of spinner, I guess.
And that one will be deflected onto the pads. They appeal again, but that's definitely hit that. So then nothing going for it. Bess has 1 for 55. See if we can make that 2. West Indies are still 184 for 9. Unlikely to win, West Indies. That is nudged into the pad. That goes looping into the air, but it goes over the Sealy Point fielder, and so will drop safe. Roach has 1 off 29.
She knows how to defend.
He pauses for a moment, Roach, and sort of has a look around, as if to try and discover where there are any more batsmen going to come from, but no. He's the last man. Oh, that's what's happening there. Bess is going round the wicket, and slogs. Gets it over the infield. It ends up plugging in the deck, and does run all the way. That's Roach's first boundary.
Smart move coming around the wicket because you want to draw that shot. And Roach got hold of it. Make him do it again.
Yeah.
End of the over. 1 ball experiment. Do that as a 1 ball experiment. You give yourself at least 2 balls around the wicket. You have 1 to find your line length and the second to cash in on it, you know? What is he doing, Dom Bess? Come on. Bowling 101. Never change angle for just 1 ball unless it's limited overs cricket and you just want to squeeze out a dot. Take a wicket. You give yourself at least 2 balls so you can do a 1-2, you know?
Root is going to continue. This is normally the sort of thing that happens when the fading light, but the light looks actually pretty good out there. Seems like there's a bit of sunshine and shadow. That one is a bit short, and it's flicked away by Gabriel towards mid-on.
It's continuing just because Gabriel is batting. Legitimately, just because.
Can see a selfish wicket, and that one is outside Gabriel's front foot prod, and he will not get a wicket.
I think it's a selfish wicket. I think he just knows that Gabriel can't help himself to slog apart him. On Gabriel's ego. Fully saying, look, Shannon Gabriel, we're not going to bother with our bowlers at you.
Mm-hmm.
Such an inferior batsman, I'm going to bowl at you. And wants Gabriel to be like, you and go for the windows. You know, it's a mind your windows, best moment. Stokes better be chirping at him from slip. Yeah. Those moments.
There's a couple of deliveries there just turning into the pads. Gabriel seems to be happy to defend so far.
It's not been in control over Gabriel. He's missing, he's side edging, he's beaten on the outside edge.
Manages to get a little bit of bat on that one.
He's really tossing it up, but he should probably be bowling it a little bit fuller to get the loose shot to beat.
That one's gone past the outside. Still not able to get much bat, and that will be the end of the over. So
over.
Maiden.
Over. Thanks. That's why Root was bowling. Last over before drinks.
Just trying to squeeze an
Do you
extra
have
over in. Fair enough. 15
do you
overs
have a
remaining.
drink?
They're having a bit of a drinks break because they can go till well past 7.
Do you have a drink on hand?
Oh, I've got some comments in the YouTube. Harsh says the last test is going to be tasty, especially if Cornwall comes back and the Anderson Broad Archie combo that should have happened in the first test. I think Sam Curran might still get a gig, but we'll see how it goes. Harsh says, when do they get the new ball? After 80 overs, is my understanding. I think that's been the case for a while. I would have thought you would know that, Harsh.
How many overs left till 80 overs?
There's 15 overs left, so they'll still have 5 overs with the new ball, if it comes to that. Assuming that they don't go off for bad light, but the light looks fine at the moment. VCS points out in the thread that Roach and Miguel Cummins had a 50-run 10th wicket partnership against India last year.
Nice.
How long was that partnership, I wonder?
Look that up.
Um,
Can bat.
Weirdly enough, under those circumstances, Cummins came in after Gabriel. So, I mean, if Miguel Cummins can do it, then maybe anyone can. I don't know anything about Miguel Cummins' batting, but I know that Gabriel can't bat. That partnership was... Wow, okay, they were bowled out for 100, and it was 50% of the innings. I didn't expect that.
I can't remember this.
It only lasted 7 overs. This was the first test in North Sound.
One. Yeah.
Pardon?
Won that test.
India did comfortably because the West Indies were bowled out for 100 after being 50 for 9. That tends to not be getting his team into a winning position.
Indies bat first?
No, the West. So it was. I don't really remember this game either, but here we are. India 297 first up with Rahane getting 81. Then the West Indies bat and don't do especially well, get bowled out for 222 with nobody making it 50. Rahane gets 100 in the second innings with Vihari getting 93 as they set up a declaration. And then West Indies bowled out for 100 in the response after being 50 for 9. It's Bumrah taking 5 for 7.
Some meaningless runs. Very different to batting to save a test.
I don't think they were batting to save a test because it was only day 4.
Yeah. That was a meaningless effort. I mean, different to right now where they're trying to...
Yeah. And, they made 50 in 7 overs, so they just must have been slogging. Oh, yeah, Kemar Roach hit 5 sixes. Anyway, Bess is going round the wicket again, and that one is... Oh, it's caught! Brilliantly caught! At short leg by Ollie Pope. That's the end of the game. West Indies are 198 all out. And after a little bit of juggling, Ollie Pope has taken his second excellent catch at short leg. And Bess will claim his second wicket, that of Kemar Roach, who no 5 sixes for him today. It's bat pad. It's not bat pad, actually, it's just bat. It's actually snatched upwards and juggled into the air, and then he has to dive forward off his knees to take it one-handed. With a roar of triumph, he throws the ball into the air.
Very good catch. The reaction to get his hands to it the first time, fantastic.
And
hit pretty solidly.
And that's that.
Very good.
It's 1-1 in the series. The Wisden Trophy is still alive going into the third Test match. England have won by 113 runs. Dom Bess has taken a couple of wickets to help finish it off, but it was almost a perfect day for England. They were held up briefly for about an hour and a half by Jermaine Blackwood and Shamar Brooks, who batted very competently for 50, but as has often been the case of West Indies batting in recent years, they could get 50, but they couldn't play the long game. They couldn't bat 200 balls. They couldn't get most of 100 or 100 and actually save the game. This is after Ben Stokes has set up the game with the bat. He's contributed with the ball, taking that crucial wicket of Jermaine Blackwood, and then another one besides. He's almost certainly going to be the player of the game, man of the match. Stuart Broad and Chris Wokes bowled effectively with new balls, first and second in both innings. England have got their win.
Best won the game for England.
Did he?
I predicted that he would. He called for it for 30 minutes. Bring him on. Hopefully gets the job done. Just trust your spinners, man.
Yeah.
Trust your spinners. Rory Burns looks like some 1950s movie villain.
And with that final opinion, I think we're probably going to leave it there. Thanks for everybody who came in to listen to us, and thanks very much, Zorix, for staying up late and giving us your pearls of wisdom.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Good night.